The following podcast does contain mature language and, more importantly, spoilers for the MSQ of Final Fantasy XIV, up to and including Endwalker. You have been warned, and now, on with the show. From the many realms of Atheris to the distant reaches of the two moons via the magic of podcasting, this is episode 8 of A Podcast Reborn, a show celebrating our journey in the past, present, and possible future of Final Fantasy XIV. This episode is being recorded on Sunday, February 20th of 2022. My name is Brian Black, otherwise known as Ro, and with me, as always, are my two wonderful co-hosts. First off, she's, well, according to her Twitter feed, she's made some mistakes, but she's looking fabulous in the beachwear that she wears while raiding Savage Phoenix. Hi, Megan.
Hi. It's very hot in there, so you gotta dress appropriately or you'll die of heat stroke.
I'm curious to hear what these mistakes are that you made, but we'll get to that in a moment, I'm sure. With her, as always, is a man who seemingly causes strange events to happen in the universe anytime he travels to Texas. Hi, Brandon.
It's true. Hello, everyone. I hope you all had a great Valentine's Day, and I hope you have someone who loves you like a ninja. Now, I know what you're thinking. A ninja, Brandon? Really? Yes, it's true. Ninjas are always sweet on you, and they always dote on you.
God.
Okay.
Look,
here's
if you don't get it, my ninja homies out there get it.
Here's the thing, I actually get it. not even having any knowledge of ninja mechanics or the class, I know that stuff because if I'm not mistaken, I think those are even the names of abilities from Final Fantasy XI Ninja, because I used to play Red Mage with Ninja as my subclass, so those sounded very familiar to me. And, yeah. No preparation was actually needed.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I was ninja through like half of Heaven's Word, and then I realized I was too stupid for it, so I gave it up. It's like, you remember all these button combinations? I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I have not messed around with Ninja yet. I mean, I haven't even unlocked Rogue yet. There are a lot of jobs classes that I have yet to unlock on my main character, so that might be something that I actually pose as a question to the two of you in a little bit here, because I'm thinking about, leveling up another class. I'm just really kind of torn and not sure which one to get to, but we'll get to that shortly. Your dad jokes, of course, at the top and the bottom of the show, Brandon, lead me to go into a little bit about what I've been up to lately. And, well, I am going to say I blatantly stole half of the stuff you've heard from Brandon on this show. Took a few dad jokes of my own, and went on tour to the House of Virtue casino and bar over on the Coral server, and performed a 5-minute stand-up routine.
All right, now I gotta know. A, which ones did you steal? And B, how much produce was thrown at you?
Okay, so no produce was thrown at me, although tomatoes were on sale at the bar for 1k gil. That was made clear ahead of time, though no tomatoes were thrown at me, which was amazing. I stole so it started out with I started out with Welcome to Fantasia, another meeting of Fantasia Addiction Anonymous. I see a lot of new faces here, and I'm very disappointed. Then I mentioned how I was late getting here because the tank in my party got lost in the dungeon. And I said, you're probably wondering how the tank got lost. Well, because it's a dark night. I added a couple of jokes of my own, the kind of go along with that whole dungeon party thing. For instance, I said, Yeah, and the dragoon's a piece of work too. He's a real scaredy cat. He gets scared of even the smallest things, but I mean, I should have expected as much. Dragoons tend to be a bit jumpy. And follow that up by saying, but as a summoner, I'm just happy to be invited to the party. I mean, usually people don't invite me because I ruin everything.
Oh, that's good.
It goes on and on like that. I brought up the let's see, trying to think of there was like one or two more of yours that I used as well in there, but it was a mix of yours, mine, and a couple from Reddit. One from Reddit that I used was, did you hear they're making a Culinarians Guild on the moon?
Great food, but no atmosphere.
Pretty much.
Crap, now I have to scratch that off my list.
I think I said the food is out of this world, but there's no atmosphere. But yeah, it was...
The version I had documented here mentioned that Cooking Way opened up a new restaurant on the mood.
There you go. I used so the jokes had to be suitable for work. So the whole abstinence one, I found a way to use that. I said to people, and last I'm going to leave you with some spicy food for thought, because this followed up the Culinarians Guild on the Moon thing. I'll leave you with some spicy food for thought, but I have to mildly censor this, so hopefully it still quacks you up. And then instead of saying no fucking way, I said no ducking way.
Nice.
So I think I did pretty well. I macroed all the jokes and set like wait timers on each line. So it would say a line, wait a few seconds, say the next line. And I just executed it like that so that I wouldn't have to type things like crazy. So I wouldn't worry about typos. I'd have everything prepared ahead of time. And I gave proper enough pauses for people to react and all that before continuing. So, I mean, I went hardcore into preparing for that routine, and people seem to really like it. There's a lot of positive response.
Nice.
So thank you very much for writing half my jokes. I really appreciate it. I also did something very crazy literally just an hour ago.
Oh?
What's that?
Well, as you know, I like to make a bit of gil. And
oh, really?
Yeah. I like to make a bit of gil. Like to go to casinos. Big fan of that casino RP. And I went to this casino that was kind of high stakes. The minimum bet's 1 million gil.
Oh, sweet
Ooh,
Jesus.
Wow.
The maximum bet's 20 million gil.
Oof.
I walked out of that casino a winner. Up ahead about 3 million gil when all was said and done. At one point during my stay there, I bet 10 million gil on a game.
So you literally bet a house.
I literally bet a small house. Yeah, I guess so, huh?
And I mean, depending on if you have crops growing outside, you could have bet the farm.
Oh, no. But yeah, it was a simplified version of poker where each of us rolled random 5 times, used just the first number of the roll, and basically played 1 through 9 with poker. So a pair beats the high card and so on and so forth. There's straights, 2 pair, flush, and all that. And
I've never understood poker.
I bet $1 million and lost. Then I bet 2 million and lost.
Jesus.
Then I bet 4 million and lost. So at this point I was down 7 million. And then I decided, you know what? Fuck it. 10 million. And I ended up winning with a pair of 8s.
Jesus Christ.
Congratulations, but I think I just had a heart attack imagining losing that.
Oh my, that 10 million game was adrenaline and terror at the same time. I literally emoted, lets out a sigh of relief after I won that one.
I'm glad you're addicted to gambling with fake money and not real money.
I don't. Here's the thing about gambling with real money is working a convenience store. I see so many freaking irresponsible people spend money on the lottery. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. I like gaming. I like gambling with fake money, man. Anytime there's any kind of gambling in a game with fake currency, I'm all freaking aboard. With real money, I do not know how people can come in and day out and literally spend hundreds of dollars on lottery tickets and hardly win crap.
Oh, I don't know, man.
It's a sunk cost fallacy, probably.
Yeah, it's that's kind of a weird tangent, but yeah, real money gambling, you'll never have to worry about that for me because I see too many people blow way too much money every day, and so I'm not a fan of the real money gambling. But hey, fake money, sure, all aboard.
The closest I will get is watching like gambling anime, and even then, I'm like, I don't understand the rules of this card game, but okay, I'll pick it up from context clues.
Gambling anime, is that what Yu-Gi-Oh is?
Technically, probably, especially the Japanese version where it's like, when you lose, you die for real.
Right.
Wow.
But, yeah, I don't know. Watch Kakegurui or Kaiji. Or hell, watch Squid Game. That's not an anime, but like, if you're really into high stakes gambling-ish stuff, there you go. But,
there are no higher stakes than the Squid Game.
Indeed.
I've yet to get into that, but I know a lot of people have watched it and really appreciate it. So that's one of those things that's kind of like on my list of things to watch for sure.
It's good. It's not perfect. It's very engaging, like moment by moment. But then when you look back at the whole thing, you're like, wait a minute. That's how I would put it. So it's worth watching. It's definitely a great binge. But like after you're done, you'll be like, wait a sec, when you think about the whole plot. But
Fair enough. I've spent quite enough time rambling about what I've been doing. Honestly, as far as like raid progression, stuff like that, I've done all that I really want to do outside of attempting Heidelin Extreme, which I probably won't end up doing until a little further into Endwalker.
I'll carry your ass. Although Zodiac would be better because you can literally just put a marker on me and follow me around.
True, but I'm after Heidelin Extreme for the weapon.
Yeah, it's really pretty. I ended up doing it to get the dancer weapon because there's so few pretty dancer weapons. So, but Heidelin's really, it's not that bad. And honestly, I've literally been in pug groups where one person just is constantly dead and we still downed it. So if you want to,
that's gonna be me.
If you want to come tank before.
I've been thinking about talking to fellow guildies, Sarah and Cass, and be like, Highland Extreme, you think you want to try it? And then I'm afraid to broach it to them. Of course, having now said that, they're going to hear this and be like, no. But hey, if you can carry me on that, I may take you up on that offer.
If you bring me in Ward along, Ward's damage is nuts. Mine is fine. It's like, it doesn't matter how good I play. If I'm a bard or dancer, I'm never going to top the meters. If I am topping the meters, it's like, uh-oh. This isn't right.
Indeed. So speaking of rating and stuff, Megan, how is Savage Pandemonium going for you? Are you done with Phoenix yet? Have you downed it? Are you getting close to it?
We downed P3. Woo!
Yay! Congrats!
Oh my god, it was very intense to get that far, and there was a point where half the raid was just tilting because they were so upset because we would hit enrage, which after like 10 minutes of a fight and you die at like 0.05% to enrage is like it's very.
So what you're telling me is things got a little bit heated.
Yes. And we always our raiding guild is really funny. they had this tradition before we even got there of like you wear beachwear to Phoenix because it's too hot in there. So everybody's showing up in like Speedos and bathing suits and stuff, which is really fun. And also they're all really into Fantasias. So when we first showed up, they were all bunny boys, and now they're all switching to Lalafels. and then this week they're like just a whole smattering of different stuff. It's really funny. But I also convinced them that since we're going into the dad pyre, that we all have to wear goth clothes. So I had my little vampire outfit. But yeah.
Fantasias are on sale, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, they are.
They're in Discord like, guys, Fantasias are on sale. Like, I'm going to get 3. Oh, man. It was really funny because one of them's like, oh, yeah, I just bought all these outfits for a male and then I Fantasias into a female.
Oops.
Like, big brain move.
Oh, that reminds me. I don't know if this happened. It wasn't this past week, but the week before. Finally, somewhere around there, finally did the first Nier Automata raid. So I got my 2B leggings.
Nice.
Not that my main is going to necessarily use them, but
hey, I was gonna say, put them on a retainer. Get yourself sexy catgirl retainer, and dress her up as 2B.
I did not think of that. That is an amazing idea on it.
Yeah, my current retainers are a pair of Lalafels named Onion and Berry Berry.
My retainers are a Lady Vieira and a Femro, both of which are named nicknames I've given my wife.
Oh my god!
And how does she feel about that?
She thinks it's hilarious, honestly. I have them both dressed as the Moonfire Fair swimsuit from, I want to say last year. The one that has like the floral skirt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, the like hula outfit.
Yeah, and the big floppy hat.
Oh man, yeah. On my potato, I have a sexy cat boy that I named Cat Bye.
Of course.
And then I need to get a bunny boy and name him Bun Bye. But yeah. So rating is intense. We spent like 9 hours on P3S the week that we downed it, and we didn't down it until the very last night, and like we had gone overtime to finally get it. And Bard is really hard to do well, by the way. You have to know how to like weave OGCDs and GCDs of like you gotta like make sure that you hit enough spells during your buffs and like all this stuff, and it's like very, very precise. And at the same time I'm dealing with like stand here, then go there, and then don't stand on this, and then go over here, and I'm like, my brain. So I'm switching to Dancer. I when we went into Dad Pyre, I was doing Bard for a few polls, and then I was like, can I switch to Dancer? And they were like, yeah, sure. And so I was like, oh my god, this is so much easier. Jesus Christ, I'm never going back. I don't know if they know that yet, but
So here's a question I have for you.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the number one targets for dance partner as a dancer? Like, who do you want to give the dance partner buff to the most?
Generally the strongest melee. And the reason is when your dance partner crits, you get a little buff that increases one of your resources, and then you can spend it to do damage. And melee people just, hit more often.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was going to say there's like a priority for dance partners out there somewhere, and like Summoner is dead last on it.
Yeah. Well,
I was going to say that because I got dance partner once the whole time that I've ever been partnered with a dancer. And I remember being in that alliance. There were like 2 people that spoke up and said, why'd you give the summoner dance partner?
Boy. Well, it's funny because Ward is the Dragoon and I'm now going to be a dancer. So we're like, do we just do it to each other? Will everybody else be like, excuse me?
I mean, what you do in your raid is your business.
Oh my god! Well, the other DPS are not going to be pleased, but they're we have a summoner and then we have a red mage. Our other 2 damages, so we're like 3 ranged to 1 melee.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's funny. You'd think that I would have to be the fake melee, but no, it's the red mage because he's like, sometimes I gotta stab. We're like, okay.
Hey, summoner gets to be fake melee for one part of their rotation.
It's true. It's a
I'm
falcon
gonna light
punch.
my book on fire and hit you with it.
Oh my
gosh, that fire punch though, just the novelty of it is great. There are certain fights just doing like expert dungeons and stuff like that where I've gotten used to knowing a boss's mechanics so much that I will deliberately pop Ifrit at a particular time just to use that charge in to get away from something. And just having that tool is pretty freaking neat.
I will say hilariously, so on Heidelin, there's she does this thing where she does an ability, and if she has one icon, you got to get in. If she does another icon, you got to get out. Right. And I accidentally falcon punched like right into it several times. When I was first learning the fight, like the raid leader was like, "Yeah, I watched you just fly in there and get smashed." I was like, "Oh, my damage though."
Might eat for enough time.
Awesome. Yeah. Brandon, how has your past week or two been in 14?
Unfortunately, it's been rather limited. The week immediately prior to this one, I was, like I said, traveling to Texas for work, and I did take my gaming laptop with me, but I didn't have a whole lot of time to play. And then the week before that, I had various things going on in the evenings, and so I didn't have much chance to get in there either. Mostly, I've just been continuing to level alt jobs on my cat girl to basically, check off the role quests off of her list. I've got 3 of them now done. I finished leveling Red Mage on her 290, and I'm working on Ninja at the moment, and then I'm going to go over to White Mage to wrap up with Healer. But unfortunately, that's been the extent of the playtime I've had over the past couple of weeks.
It happens. I mean, it's real life has to take priority, and that's totally respectable and fine. At least this stuff is kind of happening for you during a time in which there's not a heck of a lot actively new or happening in games, so it's not like you're really missing anything. And actually, I just say in general, that's kind of one of the things I've really enjoyed about my experience in Final Fantasy XIV is that I can decide to take a week relatively off from the game where I might pop in for just like 1 or 2 things, and I don't feel too bad about it.
Yeah, I will say this, though, in relation to the currently ongoing online store sale, I took an evening to spend redoing my Cat Girl's Red Mage glam, and one of the things I decided to incorporate was kind of a short little skirt. And I was I was trolling through Eorzea collection looking for ideas, and all the examples I could find that looked good were a online store item, the Fair Joy, I believe it's pronounced as. I might be wrong about that. Apologize for butchering it if I did. So I was looking and was like, yeah, sure, it's on sale. It's pretty cheap. So I grabbed that and like 1 pot of the jet black dye just because I needed it to make the look work. And so I went to the glamour dresser, added everything in, and put it on a glamour plate just to make it look right. And then I realized this skirt has almost the exact same model as the starter gear Makote females get.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly, like, well, son of a bitch, because the Makote legs actually look better for this set than the one I just spent real money for.
Yeah, I use that skirt for so many things. It's so freaking cute. The stockings on it are great. It is extremely short, though, which is very funny in a lot of cutscenes. Because so my my in-character Scion official gear is like Mikote bottom and the Scion adventurer's jacket on top, so it's like a business, like a tie and like a suit jacket, and the Mikote bottoms. And so whenever it's in a cutscene, it'll be like right up the skirt, and I'm like, okay, cool. Sure.
Okay, that's a little terrifying because that's the exact same combination I just put on my Red Mage Glam.
It's a great look, man.
It really is.
The Scion's jacket's a great Red Mage piece of gear. I was using that until, Brandon, you showed me the Shire gear. I was using the Scion's jacket for me for Summoner and Red Mage.
I would also recommend going in Shisui of the Violet Tide if you want that kind of Japanese-y kimono, but very slutty look. I mean, it's very skimpy. It's like...
It's basically just a somewhat ornate swimsuit for the most part, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like an underwater dungeon. So there you go. But it's got like the Geta sandals, and it's got like the kimono patterns on the top, and it's got the little. Some of them are just bathing suit bottoms, but they'll have like a little piece of armor on the hips or something. But it's really funny. Ward wears that as his healing glam because the outside, like the outer layer is white, but then the inner layer is like a dark gray that almost exactly matches his character's skin tone.
Oh my.
So
I have a friend who plays a ginormous, muscle-bound male Rogadin, and he wears those sets for probably a little over half of his glamours.
Yeah, I have all of them in my glamour chest, which thank God we're gonna get more slots, but not right off the bat. Speaking of the live letter.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I need more spots, man. I'm constantly like, I haven't used this weapon in a long time. Having to take shit out.
Well, we're getting more glamour help apparently pretty soon, according to the live letter, and I mean that's as good a time if you're done with what you've been doing, Brandon. That's probably as good a time as any to segue into that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't had much done in the game over the past couple weeks. So yeah, let's go talk about the live letter. This is some exciting stuff.
Yeah, so going into this. And this was just done a couple days ago. It was done on a Friday night. Going into this, I was thinking that we were going to get a little more information on possibly plot or story beats for what's going on ahead. Obviously, I've not watched a whole lot of live letters. So they were pretty vague on that stuff, but still the information that they did give about what's coming ahead for the game as far as like the short term and the long term is pretty interesting and exciting. We'll kind of go around the table here and see like what stood out to you the most, and then we can kind of tackle lesser things from there. I'm going to say the thing that struck me the biggest, that made me go, holy crap, was that they're bringing the trust system to the earlier dungeons, and that's freaking amazing. And I mean, this is something that it's going to take a period of time for them to make all of the MSQ stuff from like the whole thing good for trust. But apparently when 6.1 comes around, a Realm Reborn dungeons are going to be able to use the trust system. It's not necessarily going to be all Scions all the time. There's going to be other characters and Adventure Guild characters and stuff too. Can we please have Hoary Boulder in trust? I'm just saying. That would be great.
That would be excellent.
I need to have Hoary Boulder in my trust. And Yoshi, make it happen.
Basically, Yoshi was saying that a lot of people come up to him and say that they've played every Final Fantasy game except for 11 and 14 because they don't like playing multiplayer games. And so he wanted to make sure that even if you only want to play by yourself, you could still like get through everything. And so try to bring those people over, which I think it's going to be interesting, like how much it cuts out of the player base playing the old content. But at the same time, like, I can just go do the trust, so I don't really care that much.
Well, it makes me curious what he's going to do with the trials, because it's starting in around ARR's patches. Between that and what they're doing to Castrum and Praetorium, your first 8-man trial content is going to be Good King Moggle Good King Mog.
Yep. Good King Moogle Mog, Good King Mog. I have I have the mount, the Moogle mount, so it plays that music.
The floating like rocking chair, whatever it is.
Ward got it for me for one of my birthdays. I love it.
It's a porch swing, really. Sorry about
that.
I think they said that for now, any of the 8-player trials are still going to remain one of those things where they're just hoping that people who are doing the MSQ and the story experience will step a little bit out of their comfort box for the trials. And I don't think there's too big a problem with that. Most of the trials during the MSQ are pretty easy to get through. I'd say the one 8-player trial that gave me even a little bit of trouble going from ARR to Shadowbringers was Titania.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty rough. I've actually wiped a fair bit just on the Good King Moggle just because people don't listen with the right order to kill the ads in, or we just get a bunch of people who have no idea what the correct order is. Hell, I don't even remember it half the time. But like I get that you're trying to cater to those people who are like, I don't want to play 14 because I don't want to play with people. It's like eventually you're gonna have to, otherwise you're gonna be in for a rude awakening. So I don't know. I'm happy that they're bringing the trust system along and expanding it a bit just for consistency's sake. But if you're trying to cater to people who are like, I don't want to play with other people, they're going to run into that Moggle fight and be like, what the hell, Yoshi P, you lied to me, and then quit.
Yeah, but then they saw the beginning, so hopefully they'll be like, no, I'm invested.
I hope so. I don't know. I like the trust system, and I've definitely abused it a number of times trying to farm for glamour items, but I don't think it's a good way to take the MMO out of an MMORPG.
Yeah, true.
And unless you're planning on doing it for all the frickin' story trials using that test bed of frickin' Heidelin, but I don't know. I think at some point you kind of have to get over your group fears and enjoy the community because we're really freaking nice for the most part.
Oh man. I can't remember. I saw some memes somewhere of like somebody said more than just doing the little wave emote at the start of the dungeon. I feel attacked.
I think that it's a pretty strong compromise. I think that if 90% or even 95% of your MSQ experience is able to be done solo and you're looking particularly for solo play, I think doing a few fights in an 8-player group is a good enough deal, a good enough compromise. I think most people will be okay with that, especially when the community in 14 is usually as encouraging and supportive as it is. During my time going through those trial fights for the first time in the MSQ, almost every time that it was a new fight for me, I got a couple things as a heads up. I never once watched a strategy video for the trials. And because I wanted to try to go into it fresh and see like just how easy it was to understand. And I didn't need videos for those trials because people generally said, here's the 1 or 2 things you have to be really careful for. Otherwise, stay out of the bad stuff. And that pretty much worked for most of the 8-player trials. Titania really being the only stumbling block for me. I think we had 3 or 4 wipes on that one simply because we weren't making the DPS check. But outside of that, I had a pretty smooth experience. So I think trust for MSQ is great. We're going to have Realm Reborn in 6.1. Heaven's Ward is going to be in future 6. Something patches, and go on from there. And it's
Heaven's Ward's going to be so cool. Are we going to be able to go with Alphashon? Is he going to be in the dungeon? When?
I imagine at least a couple of dungeons will get to run it with the trust of Alphano, Assail, and Estinian.
But imagine if Harshaphant is with you in the vault.
Oh, God.
It's gonna be.
Who else would
it be? Who else?
He has to be.
I'm trying to think of that point in the MSQ. I'm pretty sure Amaric's involved at least a little bit, so maybe we get him.
Good stuff.
Oh, the potato.
I mean, I may just do New Game Plus just for this.
Yeah, I've got a character that's just starting Heaven's Ward, so I'm looking forward to redoing that. Players, well, she was a monk, and then I changed her over to machinist because then I had unlocked it. But,
for sure.
Yeah, I've got a Zayla character that I was my alt in this game for a long time until I did the whole. All right, I'm gonna bet myself, see how long I can stand being a cat girl, and if I make it a full month, then woo, I did it. And then I turned out I really liked the character, so I kept her. So I've got that character's creation data saved. I would, after the trusts go in across the board, or at least up to Heaven's Word, or actually I might even wait till Stormblood when they're implemented there. I might redo the MSQ on him.
It would actually also be really cool in Stormblood, thinking about all the characters coming along with you.
Oh yeah,
there's some cool ass dungeons.
I mean, running around with Lise and Alice for much of frickin' Authard, I have to imagine we'll get a trust involving the two of them.
Yeah, like the one where you got to prove your worth and then you get the bird at the end.
Oh yeah, Boredom's Medal. Get to run around with Hien.
It's gonna be so cool. Or the one at the very end where like it's the huge ass battle and all the leaders are fighting with you.
Yes.
Oh, the one at the end of Stormblood? Freaking Gimlet Dark.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're going to have a giant roster for that.
Oh, man.
That one is going to be a good one. I'm also interested in seeing how they're going to handle the end of A Realm Reborn, because they have said that Cape Westwind is done. You know what, guys? And
I'm
I
so
get
sad about this.
I get it, Brandon. I get it. Cape Westwind is, my God, one of the hardest fights in the whole freaking game of A Realm Reborn. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, I'm. Some of my favorite moments of the game are when I got Cape Westwind and Try Roulette, and you had to. Oh man, you had to coach so many new people through it because of course that's the only time you ever see Cape Westwind is when you're getting people doing ARR for the first time. You're like, all right, this is where things get tough, guys.
I literally poured it in, looked down to take a sip of my water, and he was dead.
True story about my first Cape Westwind experience. And by first Cape Westwind experience, I mean before my current playthrough. I mean the first time I played Final Fantasy XIV and hit Cape Westwind. So this would be back when Heaven's Ward was current content. Got to Cape Westwind, and I kid you not, these people in my group went on for 2 minutes saying, okay, you need to watch out for this mechanic and this mechanic. And when this happens, I forget all the details, but they basically 2 minutes preparing me for this fight. And it was all a big fucking troll.
Yep.
They mentioned mechanics that didn't even exist. I was like the only new player in the group. We did the fight. It was done before you could blink. And I'm like, and I asked, was he bugged? And he said, and I remember someone else saying, no, dude, it's just Westwind. Enjoy the MSQ.
So yeah, this is going to be what I talked about, the changes they're making to the ARR end game. They're making Cape Westwind a solo story battle. They're redoing Castrum and Praetorium as 4-player dungeons, and they're splitting off the fight against Ultima Weapon and La Habrea into their own separate things. Ultima Weapon will be like a 4-person trial, I guess, and La Habrea will also be a story fight.
Honestly, thank God. Like, the way that it is now, it's just a pain in the ass for anybody who has done it, and anybody who hasn't done it is just kind of weird and confusing. And, like, hard to keep up, and then, like, things are dying really fast, and, like, it doesn't feel epic anymore at all.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. And the fact that, let's be honest, Gaius Van Baelsar has been kind of subject to a very new and upgraded characterization, and his hammy Darth Vader voice in Praetorium just feels incredibly disconnected from the Gaius we meet further on in Stormblood and later on during the trial series in Shadowbringers. So I don't know if they're going to take this opportunity to re-record all of ARR's voice lines.
I was just about to ask that. I was wondering, will we see new and more voice lines for these dungeons?
Honestly, I really, really hope so. I know there are people who. Go ahead.
At the very least, I think we'll get text, even if we don't get new voice recordings, because it might be hard to like get Halfashon's voice actor back, you know, or they might just be like, "Well, it's close enough." Like, just pick someone new. But yeah, I hope that they do. That's kind of one of the best things about Trust system is taking in all the different characters and seeing how they react to stuff.
I mean, for Hoary Boulder, all you have to do is use his yell at the end of Endwalker.
I'm also very curious, like how much of the cutscenes, even in Praetorium, I mean, there's a lot of kind of fluff in Castrum that you can just straight up get rid of. You know, you shut the lights down, it kind of pans around to look at the searchlights, and then you start fighting again. You can get away with some of that. You can get rid of some of that stuff, rather. But even if you like cap off, you know, New Praetorium with the Gaius fight, that's still a lot of, you know, just monologuing, especially from Nero and Gaius himself, where it's like, okay, are you gonna trim this down? Are you gonna like rewrite it? Because that's a lot to ask players in a story dungeon to sit through. And if you don't make them sit through it without some rewrites, people are going to be hella confused.
Yeah.
So
yeah, especially if they make it skippable, because right now in the MSQ roulette, you cannot skip the cutscenes. They're like, you are going to watch this and you are going to learn this.
Well, it's like, yeah, they want people to be able to experience the story. That's why I'm very, very confused. I would have to imagine they have to like. I would imagine we're going to see a lot of the tech that was present in Endwalker, where it's like, you know, you pop up dialogue windows in instance areas with a little picture of someone.
Yeah.
Insert, this is Thancred meme here. And I expect they're going to parse down a lot of the dialogue. Like, I don't think we really need Gaius's, you know, giant monologue about how the leaders of Eorzea are indolent and will lead us all to ruin. I don't think we really need that anymore. It doesn't really feel like Gaius, but I honestly expected them to basically break Praetorium and Castrum up into a series of, okay, yeah, here's a 4-player, you know, trial fight, and then a bunch of cutscenes once you're done with the instance. You know, essentially make like all the story battles and stuff that aren't, you know, people like Nero or Gaius, just kind of like outdoor world spawns. Like when you go to certain areas and like, oh, hey, these things appeared. You have to kill them to progress the quest.
You know, I actually think that would be better.
It might be, but here's the honest thing I'm sad about. The free level you get when Praetorium comes.
I know,
right? It's like I run the MSQ roulette so many times. I've seen Praetorium and Castrum more times than I care to count. And I like the giant level gains, you know, knowing you're going to come out of Praetorium, you know, for all your time spent with at least a full level, possibly more.
Me and Ward will queue up for if we're leveling something and just like watch Netflix, like alt tab and watch Netflix.
Exactly. I have a second monitor expressly to be able to watch things on it while I'm running freaking boring story dungeons like Praetorium. Okay, that's not the only reason I have it, but it does help.
Yeah, it'll definitely be the end of MSQ roulette, I would imagine, but it makes me wonder how they're going to handle Praetorium and Praetorium and Meridium. They can just include with the other like leveling dungeons or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But will Ultima Weapon just be a 4-player trial? Will Laha Brea be a 4-player trial like, you know, 4-player Garuda was?
If I'm reading this right, Laha Brea will be a solo fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're wanting to make Ultima. I think they're wanting to stick to the Heavensward and Onward expansion model of, okay, the finale of this storyline is a 4-player dungeon and then a trial fight. But instead of making it an 8-man trial, they're making Ultima Weapon a 4-man trial.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that they can tune the solo fights a lot better. Like most of the it's just you and this guy fights are pretty good, or they're fun and they're engaging, and it's not just like I'm standing in the back spamming one button.
Yep.
Megan, for you, what's kind of the big thing that's got you excited from the live letter?
High-res cat girls.
I should have known.
Should have seen that coming.
Oh my god, those pictures are amazing. It's incredible what difference just some better textures make. Their eyes are incredible. They look so much more alive. And the hair, and just like the reshaders, like they didn't change any of the geometry. They just put on some higher res textures and upgraded the lighting, and it looks fantastic. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see everybody in it. Like all player characters, all races. I'm just like, oh my god. But the photorealistic Derplander they put up is going to haunt my nightmares. I know he's not real, he can't hurt me, but I need to remind myself of that. Jesus Christ. Also, of course, their subreddit photoshopped it to give him a big creepy grin.
Oh, that's I've seen that one. That's terrifying.
Oh my god. I really like the balance that they struck with the samples that they showed, and I'm really glad that they're not going for photorealism, because I think stylization is, I don't know, I just prefer stylized visuals to photorealistic visuals.
Mm-hmm. To a point,
in video
yes,
games.
I will agree with you.
It's just like, I don't want, it's like there are some video games where it's like, this is just like real life, and I'm like, I don't want to play a video game that's just like real life, thank you. So, yeah, hilariously, I recently bought Red Dead Redemption 4, and that one is just like, Jesus Christ, guys. Or 2? I don't know, whatever the new one is.
I think it's 2.
2, Jesus. Red Dead Redemption 2. I've only played like a few levels, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. What is this? The horses poop. I don't want my horse to poop.
Oh, so speaking of the upscaled graphical quality, they did to mention that they're going to be trying to improve the quality of the gear models. And
I'm super hyped for that.
Yeah, so these two lines, I'm just going to read the bullet points here from this summary. There's a lot of gear in the game, and the team wants you to understand that it may not be possible to review every piece, but gear implemented at 7.0 onward will be higher quality. And this one made me laugh. The team knows that there are certain glamour pieces that are favored by players, and they will be reviewing them with priority.
2B leggings?
Yes,
you're
exactly.
Up
next. Those pieces, that little item you got, Ro, will probably be first in line.
That is public enemy number 1 on their list. They're high resing that one right away.
More booty edition, more thigh squish. Is it possible?
Can it get any thicker?
Can we handle this much booty? Probably not. But yeah, I'd love to see the like Thavnarian set that my dancer's currently wearing get an upgrade. Like, all of them look great from far away, but it's when you get up close you can see the little jagged pixels on the edges and stuff. But just a better lighting engine is going to make everything look so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Which, a lot of people already mod that in, and they're like, yeah, we should probably fix it.
That's true. So I'm curious, when you think of NPCs that you have seen a lot of graphical problems, like pixelation of their gear, who's the first person that comes to mind?
Oh, gosh. Alphino's original gear, his little, like, I have a belly, but only in my side cutout thing, the blue and white, and it's really janky when you get up close. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, not a lot of characters have, like, personal gear,
I was gonna say Minfilia.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't remember seeing any bad pixelation on her.
Well, the thing with Minfilia,
I guess it's not as much pixelation, but it's I guess I'd kind of more translate the question as of all the NPCs, is there any whose gear I feel needs the most work as far as a high res version goes? And Minfilia is at the top of my list.
They sell that outfit. You can buy it. So it would be nice if they upgraded it. I would also like to see them split it into a top and a bottom and not just like a onesie. That is one of
that's a problem with a lot of people's personal gear items, like Alphanos. Outfit is all one set. The two most recently released items are the Omega M and Omega F.
I can understand that one because it's literally like a lycra bodysuit, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, Alphanos, I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, those are nice boots. I would wear those boots. And it's like, no, you can't take the boots out. And I'm like, what?
You bring up an interesting thing, though. I imagine the armor and gear at the top of the list, and this may seem a little bad to say it this way, but I think it's valid, worth considering, is all of the stuff that can be bought off the store is probably going to be considered high priority for uptouching.
You know, I think that's legit.
Me.
I think that's legit. Like, people paid real money for that. Mm-hmm. And if they paid real money for it and it looks crappier than like people running around in their 2B leggings, I think they're going to be upset.
To go back to my question, the one NPC that I can remember every time there's a cutscene when he's prominently up close in the camera, and there are a lot of them, is Lord Hien.
Oh yes.
If you go back and watch some of those Stormblood cutscenes, anytime they zoom in close on him, he looks real bad, or at least his gear does.
Yeah, and it clips
very badly.
He's right now. I'm doing the ranged story quest, so I'm hanging out with Hien a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm looking at his model. I'm like, oh, I used to think you were very handsome, and now I'm not so sure.
I mean, let's be real. He is very handsome. Just the stuff he's wearing. Someone needs to go talk to the Weavers Guild. I'm just saying.
I feel like he's got the idea of handsome going on. Like, you can draw him very handsomely from the info we're given in game, but like the high res is gonna double thumbs up him for sure. Oh man. Well, also he's an interesting character model because he's kind of like halfway between Midlander and Highlander when it comes to buffness. And like I wish that they would give us more body types, I guess.
Oh, that's a complaint we could issue across the board for all races in this game.
Well, yeah, and especially when like, oh my god, when it's like supposed to be an old person, it's like a little old lady with big juicy boobies, and you're like, whoa! They just copy and paste an old lady head on top of a a sexy lady body, and I'm like, I'm very uncomfortable right now. But it's like Matoya's over there looking like a sack of potatoes with a head on top of it. I'm like, please, this for everyone. No more just old face.
Yeah. I do want to say that probably the best high-res example they gave was the one of the Lalafell. I mean, they showed the old one, and then in the new one, it legit looked like a potato.
She was so cute, and they did the plains folk, which I almost always avoid because I find their little pupils creepy. Mm-hmm. And then it looked really good and cute in the new one, and I was like, yeah.
Wait, the hair difference is huge.
Because it's like, it's too pronounced because it's not very detailed, so it's literally just like a black spot in the middle of a light blue eye. So it looks like they're giving you like they're staring you down with a really wide manic eye. Very scary to me because we all know what Lalafells do when they give you that look. But yeah, I'm looking forward to. I know that like all of the Scions who just use like regular character models are going to get upgrades probably before the rest of them. What I really want, to be honest, is Thancred to actually look his age, because that boy looks 12. He's over there in the corner all like hunched over like, oh, I'm a grizzled old man who's the father figure. And I'm like, sir, you are in middle school. You have no eyebrows. I get that you have white hair, but that's not even a thing here. And then in the cutscenes, he's like this grizzled daddy guy shooting guns and looking really badass at like way older, like 30 years older. And then you get into the in-game and he just looks like a little, teenage anime boy. And
I was going to say, he looks like someone auditioning for the next big K-pop band.
Yes! Good lord!
So Yoshi P, if you're listening, give us more grizzled old people and not all your pretty boy anime protagonists. We're tired of them.
Well, it's more like pick one for Thancred. Like, he can be a grizzled man or he could be a teenage boy, but please stop flipping back and forth between like pre-rendered cutscenes and in-game stuff because it's very strange. And especially when he's like acting like, I'm so grizzled and I'm a combat veteran and
I've seen a lot of things and stuff. And this is Thancred.
And I'm also like, and this is why people ship Reen with Thancred, because Thancred looks her age.
Oh, true. God. People are doing that?
Yeah, it's
really people gross. Still do that. They don't understand. People forget some of the story quests where he literally says he thinks of Minthelia as a daughter, and I would imagine he pretty much thinks the same thing as far as Reen goes.
Yeah, and like
that,
I feel like to a degree they brought Gaia in to be like, no guys, Reen's not into Thancred like that.
Right.
She has a girlfriend now. Please stop. Here, ship her with us. Ship her with her, please.
You know, I've had a couple of moments in the past couple of days where I just got really, really sick of people shipping their Warriors of Light with particular characters. And I'm talking about Xenos. If you're a Xenos wool shipper, you're a degenerate. But if you're out there shipping Thancred with Reen, congratulations. You just moved to the very bottom of my I hate you list.
But I have to say, and I'll try to include a link to this in the show notes. Have you seen that recent Endwalker animation from like Savick or something? Oh man, I'm going to have to show you guys after we're done recording. I'll link it to you when we're done recording. And just when it gets to the part like the end of Endwalker and it shows just how they treat your duel with Xenos, it's freaking amazing. Oh my God. Oh man.
At least with Xenos, it's two consenting adults.
Is it though?
Yes, thank you, Ro. Is it though?
I mean, if you're shipping your Warrior of Light,
actually grown up, other than I like to kill things.
Okay, at least in body. Oh my God! Look, I will not. I generally do not judge anybody for their ships, and like. I understand on some level Xenos, but I also grew up at the height of the Twilight craze, and I was not into it, but I had a lot of friends who were. So I'm like, I understand that toxic relationships appeal to a lot of people. I don't get it, but like, I see it. Like, sure, he's an attractive man, and he's obsessed with you, and for some people, that's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, when I started getting into the whole, fanfic writing scene, it's like most of the people I knew or I was reading about ship their characters with obviously great choices. We're talking like Thancred or Americ or Y'shtola. But then you get to the deep, seedy underbelly and you get people who are like, yeah, my character's boyfriend is Asahi. And I'm like,
no.
The frick is wrong with you?
No. Ah, God. Oh, he's not even hot. I'm sorry, I hate Asahi so much. Like, the second that freaking Fandaniel revealed his face, I was like, this motherfucker, how dare you bring this face back to me?
Well, I think on that note, we're going to bring things to an end for here. I know we didn't even touch on like the roadmap for 6.1 and beyond, but there is a reason for that. Because in addition to having a whole episode where we can talk about 6.1 and beyond, there's another live letter coming in less than 2 weeks. By the time we record again, we're going to know a lot more about 6.1.
Very exciting.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see where they go from here. We've gotten some hints as far as like side quest content. Hildebrand's coming back.
Tataru's grand endeavor.
Okay.
Tataru.
But before we close, just real quick,
yes.
What do you guys think that's going to be? Because
it has to be crafting.
Yeah, my estimation, it's going to be Endwalker's version of Ishgard Restoration.
No, I don't want to craft Tataru. Don't make me.
She's literally said she's taking the Rising Stones and turning it into a crafting empire at HQ. What in the world do you expect?
I could go kill some dragons and bring her the scales or something. I don't know.
Well, you can contribute that way. I mean, we don't know how fleshed out or detailed this is going to be, or if it's going to be a simple storyline. But I feel like if it's Tataru, it has to deal with crafting and possibly gathering.
Man, last time I hung out with Tataru, we were helping the auspices work out their negative emotions by punching them in the face. And it was awesome.
But of course, why was she doing that? For money.
Yeah, but how about this? I will be Tataru's enforcer. Who's giving you trouble, Tataru?
You know what really could be cool? If they combined like both that and like an upgraded version of the Dome and Enclave restoration. To where it's like you can help build Tataru's empire by, crafting things for her, or you can go hunt down like, rare materials she needs.
Could be pretty cool.
Definitely going to be crafting. God damn it.
Well, we'll be able to talk about that and much more in a couple of weeks. I'm just so excited that we get another live leather that quickly. It's pretty freaking great. Until then, Megan, where can people find you on the internets?
All my stuff is linked to my Twitter, which is @CatMomMegan, MEAGAN, all one word. There you can find links to my webtoon and my art and my Tumblr. All
right. And Brandon, how about you?
Likewise, you should go to my Twitter, twitter.com/thebmat, THEBMATT. And there's a Linktree link in there that will take you to everything I've got going on creatively.
Awesome. As for myself, you can find me on Twitter @RowWCR. I do a couple of other things as well, including +5 to Hit, in which is a D&D podcast where I'm DM and Brandon is one of the players in that. Should be more of that coming to you within the next week or so. Also,
tomorrow, yay!
Yeah. Those of you who may have joined us from World of Warcraft land and are currently playing Final Fantasy XIV or not, I used to do this little podcast called The Rolling Restart. I'm bringing it back for one show. Maybe a little bit more, but at least a one-shot thing just to kind of talk about the state of WoW and 9.2 coming in and all that stuff. By the way, I think it's freaking amazing that Final Fantasy XIV's free trial returns right when 9.2 launches. How does it feel, Blizzard? It's pretty freaking great. But I am doing another episode of the Rolling Restart podcast, so if you have any interest in World of Warcraft or in my thoughts on it now as a Final Fantasy XIV player who, by the way, spoiler alert, not returning to WoW for 9.2, check that out. As for all the other stuff, you can find our show on Twitter @A Podcast Reborn. The theme for our show is Alex Moukala's boss theme, is Magic Boss theme for Endwalker. You can check out his YouTube channel for more great music. A link to that can be found in the show notes. And that is just about going to do it. We have a lot to talk about in 2 weeks as we have another live letter to digest, a whole lot more about 6.1, and we get to find out just exactly what we're going to be doing for our favorite Daltaru. So until then, folks, for Megan, for Brandon, and Butterscotch, this is Brian Black. Until next time, may your loot rolls be high, your glamour fantastic, and your duties always complete. Brandon?
Did you guys know it's a cultural tradition in the Crystarium to celebrate the anniversary of the day you first got your apartment there? It's true. They call it Independence Day.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, it took a second. It took a second. Independence Day.
Oh my God.
Talk to you in 2 weeks, folks.
Later.